Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Project Recap Podcast, formerly known as Project Cap, the podcast where we recap everything sports, music, entertainment, and more. I am your host, the infamous TYB, aka Thank You Brother, and I just want to thank you for stopping by. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gents. We are back here, episode 3, Project Recap. It's been like about a month and some change since I last did a podcast. Episode 2 came out. I'm back. I'm excited as always whenever I get to do one of these. I've just been bullshitting, really. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Like, I just haven't been in the mood to really do anything the past few weeks. But with this whole quarantine shit and, every school being closed and everything just changing with this coronavirus, man, I'm just, I'm like, damn, I'm tired of being bored. Like, let's get back to work. And I hate that it took so long for me to feel like this, to be willing to get back to doing this, because in this time that I've missed, I could have had so much content out, but just got to make up for it from here on out, get better at being consistent. And of course, we got quite a few things I want to discuss on this podcast. I want to keep a time limit on it, but at the same time, I feel like with the time that I've missed, I shouldn't put a time limit on this because I've been inactive, so I should go until everything is covered. But again, there's part of me that's like, okay, I still don't want to have it be like an hour or some shit. I don't want to do that. But let's just get right into it, because the less time I spend talking about, irrelevant shit, the more time I have to talk about shit that I do want to talk about. So let's get right into this shit, man. Episode 3, we're going to start off with the NBA, of course, being closed due to the coronavirus. As everybody knows, the first player that contacted the virus was Rudy Gobert, the center from the Utah Jazz. Just in case you aren't familiar, I'm sure most of you, if not all of you listening, know who he is. So, but anyways, of course, Donovan Mitchell followed, another Utah Jazz player, as well as Christian Woods, the fifth-year player from UNLV that plays for Detroit. He contacted it, and it's kind of crazy when I heard that. At one point before free agency had ended, he was like one of the few players that I heard that Boston was looking to acquire possibly, and that fell through, didn't go as planned. And I was like, damn, he could have been playing for us if that could have worked out, if Danny was able to finesse. But he was averaging 13 points a game, 6 rebounds a game for Detroit. Not bad. A few years ago, he averaged like 16 for New Orleans. He's a pretty damn good player. And I would have enjoyed seeing him play for Boston. I think having him play at like the 4 would have been pretty damn nice. Or 4 or 5. I mean, of course, we like to run small ball. He would have been a very nice 4 or 5 to come off the bench. He was having a pretty good season before this whole thing started. League's been closed now for a little bit over a week, or suspended, I should say, for a little bit over a week. But 4 players from the Brooklyn Nets also tested positive. The only player that has come forward about testing positive is Kevin Durant. The other 3 haven't been announced. I did read that one of the 4 players is experiencing symptoms while the other 3 aren't. I don't know if that's Kevin. I think Kevin said he's good, so one of the 3 that hasn't been revealed is the only one experiencing symptoms. So that's interesting. Hopefully more will come out about that over the next few weeks. Hopefully in the next few days we get some more information as to who are the 3 and who is the one experiencing symptoms. I think that's something that the public should know. I feel like that's valuable information. And like I said, hopefully it's probably going to be Woj or somebody like Shams that comes out with the information on Twitter in the next few days. But let's just wait and see if that ever does hit the surface. But there is a little positive from this whole situation with the league being closed or suspended again. Suspended. League Pass is free right now for everyone. It's free through April 22nd. And of according to a few posts that I read, you'll be able to watch all of this season's games as well as previous season's games all the way up until April 22nd. So I'm definitely hopping on that probably as soon as this podcast, as soon as I finish recording this. I'm recording this right now. It is 1:42 on Thursday, March 19th, up late. But yes, that is something that I wanted to let everybody know before we go any further. Did get information about that, but back to bigger picture shit. So with the league being suspended, of course, I feel like that drastically affects next season. And of course, I don't know if y'all have been hearing that they've been thinking about adding a mid-season tournament. I haven't looked too much into it. Like, what is it for? Like, what is this? I mean, is niggas winning something, or is this helping them, giving them some big advantage going into the playoffs? Like, every single game they play in the playoffs is a home game. So I don't know. I need some like big prize, or you playing for something. Or I think is that playing, they're like, I'm still confused. I don't know what the tournament is looking like as in the format, but with that mid-season tournament, one way that I heard that if the league were to start, like everything was still going normal and the league were to start in the fall and in the early summer for the finals and everything. So the only way for the mid-season tournament to work with the 82 game schedule is if you cut 82 games down to around like 60 to 70. So keep in mind with everything going on, the league being suspended, the league could reopen. I heard like in late summer and finish in the fall, like early fall, like playoffs happens in the early fall. And then the 2020 to 2021 season would start in December. So, of course, you've lost about a month and a half, maybe 2 months of you got your preseason and start a regular season in that time span. Why not give it a test next season with this mid-season tournament? Now that you have a shorter schedule, because they are looking to do like December to I don't know if that's necessarily shorter, because it seems like it's just sliding down. But apparently this league will be, or the next season will be shorter. So with this shorter season, see how it works. Give it a try. I feel like it could work, but I still want to see what is the prize. Like, I don't want all of a sudden to be like a mid-season trophy and that's all niggas playing for, and then you back to the regular season. It's like, why go hard for this bullshit? Like, it's not even helping me. I'm probably finna have to play more games in a shorter amount of time. I don't know. I still need more information about this mid-season tournament. Maybe I just need to do my Googles, but expect more. I feel like more information to come out about that as the months go on. If that is happening, if the shorter season is happening, if they're looking to make this December start permanent, like I've been hearing that they want to do from now on, start around Christmas and make that routine. Let's see. I feel like this coronavirus is forcing the NBA to test new things out for seasons following this next season, and it's going to be cool to see. It's going to be exciting to see, because I feel like this coronavirus shit is changing how the NBA will be played, or it could change how the NBA is played for a long time, if not ever. So let's see how that goes. I don't know if and when we'll hear more about that, but yeah, this coronavirus shit is just off the chain. Like, off the chain, no question. I don't know if y'all or anybody is listening, if you've got your snacks and everything is stocked up, but you need to do that, because last time I heard there's a case in every state, all 50 states. West Virginia was the last state to get a confirmed case, which was like yesterday, I think the day before yesterday. So that makes all 50 states 8,700, I think, cases, about 150 deaths, about 150 to 200 deaths in the country. I know in the state of North Carolina, we've got like 90, last I read was 92 as of Wednesday. I don't know how many deaths in North Carolina, but it's just like, damn, bro, the numbers are just growing and growing and growing. And I saw somebody tweet the other day, bro, we are living like in history. Like this will be talked about in the school books in 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. Like that big pandemic that happened in 2020. Like this year has just been off the chain, like alone. And the fact that we are living this shit, nigga, we gonna have stories to tell for ages. Like about just with 2020 alone. Like let me tell you about when this happened in 2020. It's just been, I don't know if, like, for instance, I don't know if y'all heard, I don't know if this is true, I don't want to feed too much into this, but Oprah supposedly has like tunnels in her crib and sex trafficking and all this other shit. I don't know, and got arrested. She tweeted that she good, but it was just still the thought, like the idea, like what the fuck, like, yo, if this is true, like this year needs to not count. Like it's over. Like this year was just I don't know. It was like the preseason to 2021. This shit don't really count. Like, I don't know. I don't really know. But yeah, this year has just been so off the chain. Yeah. I'm straying away from all the NBA shit, man. I still have some NBA shit I wanted to talk about because there was something big. I mean, something not necessarily big, but I did want to start talking about the end of season awards. If the season were to not resume, who would be your MVP, your sixth man, your defensive player of the year, your most improved coach of the year, all that stuff. I have mine, all of mine except the defensive player of the year. I don't know who I would go with yet. Maybe I'll have that in the next episode. I'll be able to make my decision by that time. But I do have my other picks as far as MVP, most improved, sixth man, coach of the year, and rookie of the year. I'm going to start with the big one. I'm going to start with MVP. No cap when I say this, no cap. My MVP gotta be Bron. Like, no question. I feel like nobody has played to the level that this man has played to this year. I'm not even gonna pull up his stats or anything. I think everybody knows what he's been doing this year. Especially how the Lakers have performed there. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they are the number one or a few games behind Milwaukee from taking that number one spot in the NBA. Number one in the West. They've been so all year long. They haven't let that go at all. And then the big weekend against Milwaukee and the Clippers, taking both of those W's, that just showed me that man is really, like, niggas is in trouble in the play, like when the playoffs start, if the playoffs can start. The Lakers are still my pick to win it all, and that's because they have what I believe is the league's MVP, LeBron James, playing for their squad. So, and again, bro, this is coming from a Boston Celtics fan. I feel like the Lakers are going to win it, and I feel like a Lakers player is going to be MVP. I'm just keeping it real. He's been the best. They've been the best. No cap. Now, most improved player. I'm stuck between two. I should have said this before. I don't necessarily have my most improved locked in, but I do have two that I have to pick from. And luckily, I love the fact that they both play for Duke. And I feel like saying that, some of y'all might know who I'm going to. New Orleans, Brandon Ingram, and my Celtics, Jason Tatum. Now, I'm stuck between the two. I feel like both of them coming from 2018 and the 2019 season coming to this season, they have improved drastically. Of course, with Ingram coming into a new situation, being traded from the Lakers to New Orleans in that big summer trade, he's been able to grow. He's been able to play more of his game. He's been able to get more shots, get more of his looks, and play in a game, in a system that's better suited for him. And playing with guys like Zoe, Josh Hart, Zion Williamson, of course, Drew Holiday, and I feel like a good bench. Still needs a little bit more. They are good, and they were on the verge. I think they were about to play Memphis at some point soon, like two times in like a week. I think before the league had closed, they were supposed to play like twice in 3 days or some shit. I don't know. And both of them, Memphis and New Orleans, are looking to take that AFC. That would have been, oh my god, oh my god, that would have been some good ass games to see. And I hope for that reason the league can resume, because I would like to see Ja versus Zion. I would like to see what Brandon Ingram is willing to do in order to, push his team up to that 8th seed. I want to see, you know what I'm saying? I want to see who can take this 8th seed in the West, because that's been a big topic out there. And I don't know who. Of course, I really would like to see either Portland, Memphis, or New Orleans taking any of those three. I just want to see at the same time who's going to go the hardest for it. I think before the season was closed or whatever, Dame is out with an injury, so New Orleans wasn't looking all that good. So it was really looking like Memphis or New Orleans could be the ones fighting for that spot. So hopefully the league can resume so we can see that. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Now let's get into the numbers though. I do want to get into the numbers with Tatum and Ingram. Tatum averaged 23.6 points a game this year, being 16th in the league, while Ingram averaged 24.3. He's 13, so just 3 spots ahead. Tatum did average 8 points less last season, so there was a big jump there, while Ingram only averaged 6 less last season. Both of them play in a situation where, Tatum playing with Kyrie and that whole drama, and then, Ingram playing with a shitty Lakers squad at this point with Bron and Zoe and everybody else. Both of them had, struggles playing in the systems that was in place at that current time. So with both of their situations changing in the past year, they've both been able to get better opportunities, more looks, more touches. More in fact that they both made their first All-Star appearances this year as well. So I feel like with both of them going from not being All-Stars to All-Stars in the 2 seasons that we're comparing, I feel like that makes them the top 2 most improved player candidates, in my opinion. Tatum also had 14 30-point games this year. Ingram had 11. And they were both very efficient from the field. Tatum he shot 44% from the field, almost 40% from 3 and 80% from the free throw. Ingram, on the other hand, he shot 46% from the field, 38% from the 3, and 85% from the free throw line. They were both very efficient players all year long. And Ingram was even more efficient on the road than he was at home. On the road, he shot 50% from the field and about 43% from 3, while at home, he shot 43% from the field and 35% from 3. Either way, I feel like both of them have put up very good numbers all year. That All-Star nod validates that. And even if the season doesn't resume, if it does resume, I still feel like it'll come down to these 2 guys. If we're talking most improved player, I don't know who else you could consider. I mean, you can probably make a good argument for a few other players, but not to the extent like the jump that these 2 made from the 2018-19 season to the 2019-2020 season. So up next, we got our 6th man of the year. I got 2 for this one too. I'm leaning towards one of them more so, but I do want to make the argument for another. My favorite is Dennis Schroeder. 19 points a game, almost 4 rebounds a game, and 4 assists a game. Played 63 games this year, started 1. The rest he came off the bench. I feel like when you think about OKC and what they've been able to pull off this year, seeing what they did in the offseason, moving on from Westbrook, trading for Chris Paul, and bringing in guys like Gallinari, you have to consider the fact that they don't have a real solid superstar, and they are currently 5th in the West. 40 wins, 24 losses. In the East, that'd be one of the better teams in the East. That'd be, guys like Miami, guys like Boston. That'll be one of those. They'd be one of those teams in the East. So, with seeing how he's performed for OKC and the success that team as a whole has had, even that heartbreaker against Boston, ripping Kemba and sealing the game for them, stuff like that, even as much as it hurts me to use that as evidence for this case as his case as 6th man of the year, it just goes to show what he's been able to do for that team and why they've been so successful, especially down the stretch. So, but my possible sleeper, Derrick Rose. I feel like could be a dark horse for sixth man of the year, despite, suffering some injuries like that groin injury I think he suffered around Christmas or around December, whatever. I mean, even though that's Christmas, I don't know if it was. Either way, he averaged or is averaging 18 points a game, or about 2.5 rebounds, 5.6 assists. You could say about 6 assists. Played 50 games this year. I don't know how many he started. I don't think he started any. That's cap. I feel like he has started more than what I'm thinking. But then you have to consider how can I put this? Okay, let me see. You have to consider the success that Detroit has had or lack thereof. Detroit 20-46, 13th in the East. I mean, I understand that Detroit has definitely changed up everything. I mean, of course, with Blake getting hurt, they traded away Andre Drummond for a bag of Skittles and a Walmart gift card. I mean, Derrick Rose has only been able to do but so much for this squad. And I'm glad, of course, with Christian Woods being on his team that Derrick Rose doesn't have the Rona. But yeah, I feel like D Rose could be a sleeper for sixth man of the year. And I feel like there's a few other players too that you could throw in the mix. But to me, those are my top two that could take sixth man. Probably Schroeder, if anybody. I feel like he's had the biggest impact in the sixth man role than any other sixth man. So that's another one of those things. We'll have to wait and see if the league resumes or if it remains suspended. Rookie of the year, I got two for this one too. Ja or Zion. I feel like that's the most common two that you'll see. I mean, of course, but probably Ja for this one too, just because he's been able to play the whole season. Zion, he came in and it's just been a problem. So again, it's probably going to be Ja, just because, like I said, he's been able to play since game one and it's been going and has really shown that he'll be a problem in this league. Zion too, he came in around February, I think, or January, February, in there somewhere, and has just been like a 20 and 10 guy every night, every single night. So that's why I feel like he forces you to consider him, just because of his star power, because of how he's played, and how he had not only how he's played, but how he's played in such a short amount of time. So again, one of those things, we'll just have to wait and see. This is why I want the league to resume, because there's some shit that needs to be settled, like these kind of debates, these kind of questions, like this guy or that guy, this team or that team. I need the season back. I understand, gotta be patient. This coronavirus is turning up as the days go by. But I just need to see it for myself. I want to see who really is gonna finish the league as the MVP or the most improved or the sixth man. And I forgot one more. My last one, Coach of the Year, Nick Nurse. I feel like seeing how they were also rumored to be a tanking team once they lost Kawhi, to still be just as good as they were last year at around the same, before the league was suspended, around the same point. They're just as good record wise. Come on, bro. That man is no sleeper. Second year in the league. First year he won a ring. Second year he's just as good without his superstar player Kawhi Leonard. Come on, dog. I don't know who else you can consider. I don't want to say Frank Vogel. I feel like he's also got a studded, like a stacked team in LA. I don't think you should consider him to be real. Nick Nurse is a surefire bet to win Coach of the Year, just because of the success that he's been able to have without Kawhi Leonard. But it just goes to show that guys like Pascal Siakam and Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet and Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol and all these guys are able to perform at a high level and work together so well. Like, it's perfect. I feel like it's a perfect bet to place if you are a gambling man. Nick Nurse is your Coach of the Year, no matter if the league is suspended for the rest of history, or if it resumes at any point in time, he is your coach of the year for the 2020 or 2019-2020 season. No question. Now, I think that's all my NBA topics. I do want to talk about some other things. Drake, there's been a Drake leak. I did want to talk about a little bit. My guy Sean provided a leak, 14-track project. It's got a few songs that we've all heard before, like War, Life is Good, Desires, Chicago Freestyle, and it's got some other songs, like he's got a Bryson Tiller feature, Usher feature, another Future joint up here, and a bunch of, the whole thing, of course, I don't think is the real, as a whole, I don't think it's of course, it's not the real project. This doesn't even sound like a cohesive body of work. Songs sound unfinished, not thoroughly mixed, not completely mixed, but it is, I was telling myself during a time like this where, we're on quote unquote quarantine, or some of us feel like we are, stuff like this makes this situation a little bit better. Some new tunes. Of course, you got the new Lil Uzi. I still need to check out. So, Don Toliver. I don't listen to Don Toliver, never have, but I've seen a lot of his stuff being posted on social media. I gotta check that out. He's got a Travis feature up there. I definitely want to check that out. I still haven't heard G Herbo's project. But like I said, times like this is where enjoying new music and new things, I feel like you got so much more time to do shit like that, and I've been slacking. So hopefully tomorrow, I've got the entire day again, because my job is closed. Well, I won't say necessarily closed, but I don't have to go. They're paying me to stay home because, I won't. Let me clarify. I'm not technically being paid to stay home. I can call out and still get paid for my shifts that are already locked in my schedule. And I'll get paid still, I think, for like a few more weeks based on my previous 10 weeks, like hourly average, which is cool. So then again, I could say I'm being paid to stay home because I don't have to go to work. I read a post on our site, on our employee shit. You can't get penalized for calling out. Say less. Say less. You said what? Don't have to show up? I don't have to come in? Come on, dog. And I still get paid? They don't penalize you for being late, for not coming? Bad. That's cool. So I'm taking advantage of it while I can. Even though I don't know if everybody knows, if you're listening, I got a new job offer recently, starting there in the next like 3 weeks, somewhere like in the second week of April. So I think it's about 3 weeks. So either way, new work, new bread, new money, big money coming soon. But this Drake project, I have enjoyed, even though War and Chicago Freestyle has already been out. I think War came out late last year and the Chicago Freestyle came out like some weeks ago, like a month ago, whatever it was. It just goes to show why Drake is like the greatest artist of this generation. You always have that one guy from era to era who is the poster boy, the staple, like the guy. And for over a decade now, Drake has been the guy. And I've been seeing debates on Twitter, like people saying like, this project from Drake is underrated, this project from Drake is underappreciated. He's only in debates with himself. I don't ever hear, Drake versus this guy or Drake versus this guy. Like, it's more so, which one is the better, this album from Drake or this album from Drake? No, you guys are forgetting this album. No, you're forgetting this album. And it's just like, dog, like he from project to project, he's been able to keep niggas engaged with his music. And even as years go by, like as his projects get older and older, they still come up as like a common topic in debates, like all over social media. So, but that, like, I'm ready to hear what's new. Like, I'm ready to hear this new Drake project. I don't know when it's coming. I feel like it is coming sometime this summer. He might drop it after this Corona go away, just to pump niggas up, like just get niggas, back in their bags. And that'd be real nice of him if he did something like that. That'd be real thoughtful. But I haven't seen anyone other than one other person, like I've been able to experience their dominance, their run, that has gone from album to album and have been able to remain consistent. And that's Kanye. That's Kanye West. From album to album, no matter which album you say or pick, he's been able to assert himself back in the conversation amongst the hip-hop community. And regardless of the type of shit he's on, no matter if he, saying Bush don't like black people or he fucking with Trump, whatever body of work he put out, niggas gon' hear it because it's Kanye. But it's dwindled down, of course, ever since Jesus. I feel like it's just been going down for him as far as like mainstream and his shit being in his music being in high demand. Drake is somebody I feel like who will never lose that demand for his music, because also the type of shit he be on is not as erratic like Kanye, and not, he's not so disconnected from the people who really support him, his community, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So with that, in combination with his music being so damn good, every time he drop is heat. He gonna be in a conversation. The only debate you will ever hear him in is probably with Michael Jackson. I mean, I've heard that debate before, but I also feel like it's still too early to throw him in that conversation with somebody like Michael Jackson. But as far as like greatest artists, greatest performers, anything, them two gonna be like the only two solo artists that you'll really hear about in big discussions. But what was I finna? Damn, I lost my train of thought. And I honestly consider Drake one of my four on my Mount Rushmore too. No cap. He's up there with Kanye. He's up there with Cudi, and he's up there with Wayne for me. Those are my top four. I had to think about that shit the other day. Like, who would be my fourth? I already knew it was Kanye and Cudi. I threw Wayne up there, but I'm like, damn, who is my fourth? And it's Drake, no question. No question. I got some honorable mentions too, but that's for another day. Drake, he's up there, top four all time for me in terms of hip hop artists. No question. And I'm not ranking them for like one is better than the other. Those four alone, Kanye, Cudi, Drake, Wayne, my four. But I think we're going to wrap it up here, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, we will have episode 4 regular schedule. We are back. I'm saying we like it's more than me. I will be back next week for episode 3. I will be more consistent from here on out. Every Thursday, you can expect a project recap episode on CampIslandStudios.com, or you can come check out the IG Project Recap, the Recap Project on Twitter, and I think I'm Thank You Brother on YouTube. I know that's a lot of different handles and shit, but I will be saying this shit more frequently, or you can just go to my website. Makes it easier. The more I say it, though, the more you'll remember these different handles. But like I said, I appreciate everybody for stopping by, for tuning in. Episode 3. It's your boy, as always, TY, and I am signing out.